Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping away from the usual analysis. We're going into the shadows, really. We're looking at what happens when relationships end, not just with sadness, but spiral into something much darker: obsession, psychological torture, even violence. We have 5 pretty harrowing accounts today. Stories about love turning toxic, turning deadly.
It's important to remember, of course, that most breakups don't end this way. But these stories, they expose the absolute worst potential outcomes when rejection meets possessiveness. It's chilling stuff.
Absolutely. Let's start with our first account. It's about how quickly things can escalate. This involves a man who moved from West Virginia to Lexington, Kentucky, all for a relationship that was, well, already kind of falling apart. He described it as the slow, depressing slide. They became roommates, essentially, slept in separate rooms. He ended up on the couch. They did officially break up, but, they were still under the same roof. That's
often a very volatile situation right there.
Yeah. So post-breakup, he's looking for connection, turns to the internet. He meets this girl on Reddit's Gaming sub, believe it or not. They hit it off, exchange numbers, and even plan a trip for him to fly out to Phoenix, Arizona to meet her. He actually went to sleep that night feeling hopeful, like he was finally moving on.
And that right there, him moving on, finding someone new, even though they were officially broken up, that can be the trigger. For someone with that possessive mindset, it's the ultimate betrayal.
Exactly, because he wakes up the next morning to this incredible noise, just loud, violent crashing. It wasn't a break-in. It was his ex. She had a baseball bat, and she was just destroying his Xbox, screaming about him cheating.
Wow. Targeting the symbol of his new connection, maybe.
Maybe, but here's the really terrifying part. The detail that shows it wasn't just random rage. She screamed the Reddit girl's name.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She knew who he was talking to. She'd clearly been tracking his messages, his plans. Even after they broke up, this wasn't spontaneous. She knew.
So she was stewing on it, waiting.
Yeah.
The violence against the Xbox, that's often just the first step, right? Mm-hmm. Testing the waters before turning it on the person.
And that's exactly what happened. She stopped hitting the Xbox and swung the bat right at his head.
Jeez.
He said he just dove backwards over the couch, missed him by inches. He was absolutely terrified. He scrambled and managed to lock himself in the bathroom.
Smart move.
He described it like a scene from The Shining. She wasn't just pounding on the door, she was bashing a hole through the wood panel with the bat, screaming at him through the hole.
The speed of that transition from ex-girlfriend roommate to someone actively trying to kill him. It's instantaneous once that feeling of control is lost. It's terrifying.
He knew he had to get out. He fled immediately, didn't even pack, just ran. He never went back to Kentucky. He was convinced she genuinely wanted to kill him.
I don't blame him. That's a legitimate fear.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit from that kind of immediate physical violence to something maybe even more insidious. Pure psychological warfare. This next story involves a guy who admits he cheated on his girlfriend. They broke up about 6 months before this incident. He says, he knew he deserved some kind of payback, but not this.
Right. There's wanting someone to feel hurt, and then there's this level.
So 6 months later, he's in college down in Florida. He gets a call, unknown number. It's his ex. And she happens to be an ER nurse. She gets on the phone. Her tone is super serious, grave. Mm-hmm. Tells him, we really need to talk. Are you sitting down?
Okay, so his mind probably goes straight to the obvious.
Exactly. He immediately thought, oh God, she's pregnant. That's the bombshell he's expecting.
But she had something far worse planned.
Oh yeah. She tells him very calmly that she just had a patient come into the ER. Terrible car accident. Then she drops it. She didn't make it. It was your mom.
Oh my God, no.
He's in total shock. Devastated. He immediately calls his little brother to break the news. They're both on the phone, crying, completely falling apart. And then suddenly his little brother just yelled out, Mom.
She walked in.
She'd just gotten back from Walmart. Completely fine.
Wow. The cruelty of that?
Yeah.
It's almost unimaginable. And using her position as an ER nurse.
Right. That's what makes it so calculated. She knew how to make it sound real. She knew the procedures, how to deliver that kind of news to make it believable, to inflict the absolute maximum emotional damage.
It wasn't about getting even. It confirms what he said, right?
Yeah.
She wanted to hurt me just like I'd hurt her, but amplified to an almost pathological degree. It's about psychological destruction.
That kind of calculation, that pathology, it really brings us to probably one of the most notorious cases of obsession turned deadly. Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander.
A case study in premeditation, really?
Definitely. So, quick background, they met back in 2006 at a conference. She actually converted to Mormonism and Travis baptized her. But the relationship, mostly long distance, was incredibly volatile. toxic, and the early warnings were loud. Travis's friends consistently described Jodi as possessive, intensely jealous. Frankly, they found her frightening.
And that's such a crucial point. Those outside perspectives from friends who see the dynamic without the emotional fog of the relationship itself, they're often the most accurate predictors of danger. Those red flags should never be ignored.
Absolutely. And the evidence of premeditation here is just undeniable. Travis tried to end things, even tried canceling a trip they had planned to Cancun. Then, just days later, May 28th, Jodi files this report about a burglary at her grandparents' place where she was staying. Claims valuables were stolen, including, conveniently, a .25 caliber Colt pistol.
The eventual murder weapon.
Exactly. Travis actually refused to let her come stay with him after the supposed break-in. He was clearly trying to distance himself.
Setting boundaries.
But she wasn't deterred. On June 3rd, she rents a car in California, telling people she's driving to Utah. Then, on June 9th, Travis's friends, worried because they haven't heard from him, find his body in his shower. Police later find a digital camera in the washing machine.
Trying to destroy the evidence, but they recovered the photos, right?
They did, and those photos told the story. Pictures of Travis and Jodi together on June 4th, happy, smiling. The last photos show Travis in the shower, looking relaxed, time-stamped 5:43:09 p.m. The very next recoverable photo is of Travis bleeding profusely on the bathroom floor.
Chilling. Just minutes apart.
DNA evidence placed her there, of course. But the final nail in the coffin. Investigators found a single .25 caliber bullet casing at the scene. It matched the exact type of gun she had reported stolen in that fake burglary just a week before.
Faking a burglary specifically to obtain the murder weapon, that speaks volumes about the level of planning. This wasn't a sudden snap, a crime of passion. This was methodical, calculated.
It's a terrifying level of commitment to ensuring he couldn't leave her, couldn't move on. Total eradication was the goal.
It truly highlights the psychopathology involved.
That kind of chilling determination leads us into two unresolved cases. Situations where partners just vanished, leaving behind nothing but suspicion and unanswered questions. Let's talk about Craig Freer first. Craig was only 17, living in Scotia, New York. He was going through a really tough time, severe depression after a bad breakup, and he had actually been lying to his parents for about 2 weeks, pretending he still had a job he'd lost.
A lot going on for a young man.
Yeah. So on Sunday, June 27th, 2004, he goes over to his ex-girlfriend's apartment complex. While he's there, his mom calls the landline phone at the apartment. She confronts him about lying about the job. It sounds like it was a tense conversation, but he promised her he'd drive home in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, they never made it home.
Never showed up. His car was found still parked at the complex. His wallet, with about $40 cash inside, was later found back at his own home. He hadn't taken it with him.
So he left the apartment on foot.
That's what the ex-girlfriend claimed. She said he just walked off into the woods behind her apartment building.
And the searches.
Extensive. We're talking almost 70 different searches over the years. Sniffer dogs, dive teams in nearby water, state police resources, nothing. Not a single trace of Craig has ever been found.
And his social security number hasn't been used.
Never. The strong implication is that he's deceased. But the question is how? How does a 17-year-old boy just vanish from behind an apartment complex?
It's a complete mystery, physically speaking.
The prevailing theory among investigators, though, is pretty dark. They believe the ex-girlfriend knows more than she's saying. Given Craig's size, they doubt she could have overpowered him or disposed of a body by herself.
Suggesting accomplice.
Exactly. The suspicion points towards her possibly having a new boyfriend, someone perhaps jealous or violent who might have confronted Craig, and things escalated. The belief is she holds the key, possibly directing an accomplice, but without evidence. It's just speculation.
A deeply frustrating cold case.
Terribly so. Now, our final story shifts the focus slightly. It's about how sometimes the threat doesn't come from the ex-partner directly, but from external forces. Family, culture. This involves a woman named Hahula. Hahula was a highly accomplished hematology consultant. Very professional, very respected. She was in a relationship with a man who wasn't Muslim, and this was a huge problem because her family was extremely strict.
What background specifically, if you know?
The account mentions they were Salafi or Wahhabi Muslims, which represents a very conservative, fundamentalist interpretation of Islam. This made her relationship completely forbidden in their eyes, secret, dangerous.
Living a double life, essentially. The pressure must have been immense.
Immense. After she took a trip home to Yorkshire to see her family, she came back. Different. Cold. She broke up with her boyfriend, telling him they were doomed, that her parents would never, ever accept him. She even told him, hate me, just hate me. It'll be easier to let me go that way. Then she cut off all contact.
Which must have set off alarm bells for him.
Immediately. She stopped reading his messages, which was totally unlike her. She was known for being meticulous. He got really worried and called her workplace. They told him she hadn't been in for 2 weeks, said maybe she'd moved jobs, but they weren't sure.
2 weeks? A consultant doesn't just ghost their job like that. That's highly suspicious.
Right. So he goes to her apartment. He speaks to a neighbor who saw something unsettling about a week earlier. 3 people, described as Arab-looking, likely her parents and brother, moving all the furniture out of Hala's apartment.
Did the neighbor see Hula?
No, that's the crucial part. The neighbor never saw Hala during the entire move out.
Oh, that's bad. That's really bad.
He was frantic. He managed to track down her father, who was a retired doctor himself. He called him. The father's reaction was immediate anger. He denied even having a daughter named Hala, threatened to call the police on the boyfriend for harassing him.
Denied her existence.
That's horrifying. It confirmed the boyfriend's deepest fear. Hala had apparently told him before that she was afraid her family would kill her if they found out about him. He'd thought, maybe hoped, it was metaphorical language. After that call, he believed it was literal.
He believes it was an honor killing.
That's his conviction. The police apparently closed the case, citing an alibi provided by a sister living in Switzerland, but he doesn't buy it. He's convinced her family murdered her to preserve their perceived honor.
It's a stark reminder that the danger after a breakup isn't always from the jilted lover. Sometimes it's from a larger system family, culture enforcing control through extreme violence, a totally different category of threat.
Exactly. So looking across all these stories, the West Virginia man, the psychological torture, Jodi Arias, Craig Freer's disappearance, Hala, the common thread really is that toxic mix of rejection and a desperate need for control. Whether it manifests as sudden violence, cold calculation, or this kind of chilling familial enforcement, the outcome is driven by an inability to accept separation, leading to truly unthinkable acts.
It really underscores the need for awareness. Paying attention to those early signs, the intense jealousy, the controlling behavior, the possessiveness. Friends often see it first. Listening to those outside concerns is so important. These tragedies often have warning signs long before the final act.
Well said. Thank you for joining us for this pretty intense deep dive today. If these stories resonated with you, or if you found this discussion valuable, please do take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx. We explore more of these chilling realities here. We appreciate you listening, and please stay safe out there.